All right, let's head out to the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Get you ready for Niners Dolphins happening on Sunday. Our friend Matt Maiocco joining us from NBC Sports Bay Area. Matt, always a pleasure to catch up with you. First, I want to ask you about Trent Williams. What's the latest with him after he walked off the practice field today with a back issue?
Yeah, they don't seem too concerned about it. They felt like it's a lot better that he had these back spasms on a Friday and not a Sunday after warm-ups of a game, but still obviously a concern. The Dolphins are down there starting offensive tackles in this game, and if Trent Williams can't go, then Colton McKivitz would step in at left tackle. But, yeah, that was, he walked off just a light practice typically on a Friday, and after warm-ups, he went off the field pretty slowly and went back into the locker room area for some physical therapy. So that right now it's up in the air a little bit whether he will be available for Sunday's game. He's listed as questionable, but I think there is optimism that over the next 2 days he'll get that thing right and he'll be able to play.
I know Christian McCaffrey came back to practice after missing some time earlier. What's his status though? Is he full go for Sunday, or will he be limited in some way?
Well, he's been cleared to play, so he will definitely play. And then I think a matter of, how he's feeling during the game and how they want to mix things up. And I mean, frankly, at this point, I don't even know who, for sure who's going to be their number 2 running back. Elijah Mitchell obviously is out for 2 months, probably, the rest of the regular season. Jordan Mason filled that role last week, or at least he was the number 3 guy, but a lot of that was because of special teams. So I suspect Jordan Mason will be the backup behind McCaffrey, and then it's a matter of how they want to keep those guys fresh and rotate them in. But if Jordan Mason, Ty Davis-Price, and Devin Coleman from the practice squad are the options for how the 49ers wanted to use that backs by committee or whatever approach that they plan on doing. They do have to feel like they need to limit to a degree Christian McCaffrey's touches just so that they don't wear him down late in the season. And also Deebo Samuel. I don't know that he will be available for this game on Sunday. He has a quad injury and didn't practice much at all this week. So he is also up in the air to see if he's going to be able to play against the Dolphins.
Matt Maiocco from NBC Sports Bay Area here with us, Cattles and Rami, Sactown Sports. Matt, how much impact does the Mike McDaniel-Shanahan relationship actually have on this game?
I think it has a lot just kind of behind the scenes and probably not a whole lot of stuff that you or I will be able to pick up on. Both teams like to use pre-snap motions. They like to get a lot of misdirection going on. They like to set up plays by showing one thing either in previous weeks or early in this game to hopefully from their standpoint, create a big play down the road with these teams. So I think a lot of it will be kind of, I think it'll be a lot more like in the booth and on the sidelines. They'll be able to kind of connect the dots and know the history of each other and how they approach the game. But I think ultimately, when we're watching the game on Sunday, it's going to be the team that takes care of the football. It's going to be the team that execute. It's the team that makes the big play or avoids the big play, avoids giving up the big play. So I think that it's a lot of fun to talk about, and I'm sure there will be stuff that we find out after the game. But I think as far as watching it, it's probably going to look very similar to any other game.
People were talking about this 49ers defense as a historically great going into the Kansas City game, and then Kansas City averaged 9 yards a play and moved up and down the field. Is this a test with another high-powered offense that this defense is facing for the first time since that Kansas City game?
Yes, I believe so. I think that this is a game that the 49ers defense has played so well, 4 straight games of shutting out the opponent in the second half, and of course the complete game shutout, 13-0 over the Saints last week. And the 49ers feel good about getting Eric Armstead back. I think he's a guy who really adds a lot to that defensive front, both in the run game and also as a pass rusher. So, I mean, this is a game that, I think the 49ers will be tested. They do a lot of stuff the Dolphins do schematically. They have a quarterback who's playing at the very top of his game and is in that short list of players to be considered for NFL Offensive Player of the Year. And the Dolphins have a lot of speed. They have speed in the backfield with Raheem Mostert. They have speed on the outside with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So this is a team that kind of stresses the defense a lot in a lot of different ways. And so the 49ers have to be on it on Sunday to be able to keep that offense in the game. And the 49ers are looking for their offense to kind of close the gap a little bit between the disparity of what their defense has done this year and what their offense has done. The defense has carried the way. Now I think it's time for the team to look to its offense to start doing its share of the heavy lifting too.
Matt Maiocco with us here from NBC Sports Bay Area. He's on the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Matt, you just mentioned the offense. This team's been pretty average in the red zone. What do you see happening there? What needs to change?
Yeah, it's interesting because last year they were a very good red zone team. I mean, they were top 4 in the league last year, and this year they're more middle of the pack. It's really difficult to kind of put my finger on it, other than I think that you have to be able to run the ball successfully in the red zone. And if you don't, you're going to struggle. And I do think that the offensive line has generally played very well, but there's still, it's continuity is a big thing on the offensive line. And when you introduce 3 new starting players on the offensive line and all of them playing side by side, the center and 2 guards, I think that it takes a while to get things rolling. And so that would be my guess as to why they're not as efficient this year as they have been in the past. And then also I think, they didn't really work a whole lot. I think a lot of the red zone offense in the off-season program and training camp was geared around the quarterback-driven running game with Trey Lance. And once Jimmy Garoppolo came back and, he's in the lineup a week 2, I think a lot of the things they worked on during the offseason just wasn't relevant anymore. But that is definitely an area where they're going to have to pick things up, or, it's going to be a very short postseason stay if they indeed make it to the postseason.
Matt, based on some metrics, QB rating, and some of the deeper dive numbers, Jimmy Garoppolo is right behind Josh Allen, the guy they'll see in Tua on Sunday. But I don't think anybody puts him in that class of quarterback. Your very well-educated eyes, how good has Jimmy Garoppolo been this year compared to what some of the numbers might say?
Well, I think he's played very well, and I think I thought he played pretty well in 2019. I think he's playing at a higher level now, mostly because the head-scratching interceptions have mostly been eliminated. I would say that, I like Jimmy Garoppolo. Do I think he's a top 10 quarterback? No, I don't. Do I think he's a bottom 10 quarterback? Absolutely not. I've always thought that he kind of fits very neatly in that middle tier of quarterback. I think that the reason, how I would look at Garoppolo is that I think a lot of teams rely on their quarterbacks, and they have, the so-called franchise quarterback, and those teams are not able to win if their franchise quarterback isn't playing at a high level. And so a lot of the guys, whether it's Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, go on down the list. Heck, I would put Kirk Cousins in that group. If their quarterbacks are not playing at a high level, they don't win. With Jimmy, he doesn't necessarily have to play at a high level, and he doesn't necessarily have to put the team on his back to win. He just doesn't, his thing is he just doesn't have to lose the game for them. And that's a difference in that the 49ers put a lot of the weight of winning and losing on their defense and their running game, and Garoppolo just being like a ball distributor, kind of like a point guard, a pass-first point guard. And so they ask a lot less of him from that standpoint, and I think he's done a good job of it. And I think a lot of it has to do with what Kyle Shanahan feels gives the team the best chance of winning. It's not, hey, Garoppolo, throw the ball 40 times and sling it around the field and be making plays out of nothing. It's more take what's there, and if it's not there, get rid of the ball, live to play another down, and a punt isn't necessarily a bad thing. So it's kind of a different style than I think teams that have the quote-unquote franchise quarterback are accustomed to playing.
Matt, great stuff. We always appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and we'll do this again soon.
That sounds great. Thanks a lot for having me, guys.